Hit it, Phil.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Can it be the breeze that fills the trees with rare and magic perfume? Oh, no, it isn't the breeze. It's Jackson time. La-da-da-da.
Well, hello again. This is Buck Benny speaking. Welcome to another of our Jack Benny specials. This time, like last time we presented, let's see, it was Phil Silver's show, right? So it was Phil Silver's show from 1960. Well, here's another one from 1960. This is this time it's the George Burns special, and Jack's on this one a lot. He has little bits and pieces throughout, so it's kind of nice. It kind of is like a George Burns / Jack Benny special almost. An enjoyable show, and we'll chat about it. The video quality is not as high as we like, but it's there, and at least we have it. The audio quality sounds really good though, so I'm happy with that too. But it's actually not so bad when they have close-ups of them. They look pretty good. It's the distance shots of the dancers where everything looks blurry and you're going, does that person have 3 legs or 2 legs? What's going on? Anyway, we'll take it over to Kathy and see what were her kind of impressions of it.
Well, again, I'd not been able to see it before, so thank you very much for access to it. I just love the capsule view of 1960, of knowing that Gracie had retired just 2 years before in 1958. And so it was interesting to see George trying to figure out he didn't want to retire and he wanted to keep performing. So I thought it was interesting to see how this special was set up, because you've been introducing us to things like the Milton Berle special we saw a while ago. And so I'm getting quite an education in early 60s variety specials. I really appreciated the color. As I said, when I get to read the variety review, they saw the show in black and white. I missed the color on the Richard Hudnut commercials because I really wanted to see what those wash-in hair colors were like.
Right.
It's a joke. But it was delightful, and I really appreciated at the end how when George finally got to sing and do his numbers, that most of the routines were straight from his book about Gracie Allen. He had, I guess, fairly recently published one of his many autobiographies. Maybe this one was Gracie Allen, A Love Story, or I Love Her, That's Why. I read it again recently, and I appreciated the autobiographical nature of the stories he was telling about his early vaudeville career, about getting fired so often, about the Pee Wee Quartet and Goldie Fields and Glide. So
now, was Gracie gone by this time, or was she?
No, she died in 1964. So she would be around for 4 more August 64. She'd be around for a while, but she didn't do anything in public anymore.
I thought it was after this. Yeah. But she retired in 58, I think.
Yeah. It must be I Love Her, That's Why, because I'm looking.
Thank you.
According to the internet,
yes,
1988, Gracie, A Love Story came out.
Okay, so thank you. Then it was so. And I said I'd just been reading it out loud to my husband on a long trip we'd taken a couple months ago. So
right, and his books are fun to read because I mean you can hear his voice as you're reading it, probably more than most authors you read, and so it's just kind of really nice to read through his books. And like I say, he has quite a few of them. So over the years, because he lived a long time. It is interesting, like you say, that it's in color, because this is in 1960. You didn't have much that was in color, so it's neat that they did that. And at first I was going, "Is this colorized?" And then it said the NBC thing in living color or whatever. And I was like, "Okay, it's definitely not colorized." John, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, some advice for the viewers. If you are watching on a big screen, I recommend watching it the way that I watched it on an iPhone.
Yes.
And the quality appears much, much better. So, and as far as the special as a whole, I would say it was not my favorite variety special, but I do think that it gets better as it goes on. Like some of the stuff at the beginning, I like Bobby Darin, so that was fine. I thought the Betty Grable stuff was a bit awkward, and there's something about the production quality, the set. It was just something that seemed a little bit cheap or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting. Like when I first turned it on, sometimes you look at George Burns at a certain point and you can't quite tell whether this is the 60s or the 80s. And when you've got like the neon colors, I was like, "Wait, is this an 80s special?"
Yes.
Yeah, I thought the color scheme were not like your typical 60s TV show. So that was interesting.
Well, it's one of these things where if they would just, I mean, now you look at it and you go, man, if we could just have George Burns on a stool and Jack Benny on a stool, and they just talked and shared stories and made jokes back and forth for an hour, that would be more entertaining than all of this extravaganza, all of this stuff. We wouldn't need any of this because those two were just so funny guys.
But you can imagine network executives or programming people going, here's the it's kind of like we need to make a stew and we got to put in Bobby Darin for the young people. We got to put in Betty Grable for the older, a bit of Hollywood glamour. I still don't know why they had Polly Bergen on there if her biggest claim to fame was to tell the truth. But so, you can, and the Hermes pan dancers. And so it's almost like, we'll add an onion, a little bit of beef, a couple carrots, some potatoes, and here's a special for you.
And here's Jack, your old school person for the older audience.
Yeah.
Hope, go ahead.
I feel like the reason why it's colorized the way it is because it is in color and they want to make because I'm like early color is on television isn't necessarily what it catches up fairly quickly, but I'm guessing that they're putting these bright kind of like neon colors to kind of be eye-catching and to actually be like visible.
To tell that it's in color when you've got like a really cheap, brand new color television set.
Yeah,
definitely.
Exactly.
I'm a big fan of the 1940s song Buttons and Bows, and this is the worst rendition of Buttons and Bows I've ever seen.
That's great. You can catch the worst of something. We look for the best, but sometimes the worst is also good.
It's slow now because Dennis Day sings it on the Jack Benny radio show. It was a fairly popular song in 1950. So why they've dragged it out in 1960 is...
Yeah. I thought
and Dennis must have sang it a few times because I remember that too really clearly. And usually when I remember songs clearly that Dennis does, he's done them 5 or 7 times or something.
Yeah. I did think that the walk dance was fine. It was sort of a relaxing entertainment. But I feel like the show really picks up at the ending when, Jack comes in and he gives his big, speech reprimanding everybody for the way they've been treating George Burns. I thought that was hilarious. It was building. I thought it was very funny. And then when George goes and he does his own performance, that was the most entertaining part for me. I thought it was a great sort of snapshot of who George Burns is and the idea that, he's desperate enough to do it. As long as he has any audience, he'll do it. And so I thought that was fun. So...
Well, and what an unsurprising thing for us that whenever George Burns is on the screen or Jack Benny or ideally both, the show picks up. I mean, it's to me every time they go away from those two, it drops in the entertainment quality. I will say my favorite dance piece in the entire show was probably 5 seconds or 10 seconds tops. It's when at the end of the first number, when George and Jack slide in sideways into the camera shot, and they're both doing this, and I thought that's a pretty intricate dance move with his feet for Jack to do at his age. I was like, he always surprises me at what he can pull off. But and I've never seen Jack dance quite like that, so I'm like, okay, well, that's great. But I hope you were going to say something. I think.
No, I was just gonna say, I love this. This special. I think both the specials that we watched this week were really great. And I had to look it up because he sings Doing the Grizzly Bear, and that was on his I want to say like 1969 album George Burns Sings. So I was like, is this like, when did this come out? And it's years before the album comes out.
Right.
But with
1950.
this whole like conceit of like he's trying to get somebody to sing with him, I had a very interesting discussion with someone that does a lot of research on Gracie Allen, and it's interesting that like when he's trying to figure out his what's next after Gracie, this person argued that Gracie very much wanted him to stop bashing himself, and like notice that like he can do well without her.
Yes.
And so I think it's interesting that he's just full on just Kenny.
Sorry.
Distraction.
So,
Shiny object, squirrel.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think it's interesting that he's still kind of insecure even after all these years of vaudeville and all of this. He's still that insecure performer of like, this is I'm not good enough, so I have to self-deprecate.
Yep.
And
yeah, I'd be curious to see how much of that is sincere and how much he's just doing a bit, because I was listening to I don't listen to that much Burns and Allen, but I was listening to one because George Burns and Gracie Allen, or maybe it was just Gracie, were a guest star on the Jack Benny show. So I listened to that episode from the same week. And in the episode, the plot point was that George Burns wanted to sing, and you know, he went to like an executive, and he was such a bad singer. So it was interesting that this is 20 years earlier, and he's doing the same bit. And there's nobody who can sing bad like George Burns. It's so entertaining. Mm-hmm. It's not like ear splitting. It's just like, you know, he's got such a unique rhythm, which I think he's sort of putting on, but I just love it. It's very entertaining.
So I know that that's a bit for him. But it's interesting because like as when he puts his album out of George Burns Sings, it is fairly popular. And so so I just find it interesting that like throughout all these years he's had this bit, and then like a new generation comes along and it's like, this is great, you know. And so it's like it's a bit that I feel like people believed like Jack Benny is cheap. And just because that's what they've been told. So I feel like that, I guess why I bring it up this way is it's a bit, but I feel like it also shoots himself in the foot because people don't necessarily want to hire him for it because that's his bit and people believe it.
Yeah. Well, I'm just so delighted with, I get the feeling that after Jack's passing, with Jack passing off the Sunshine Boys to George, I just hope that out there somewhere, Jack and Gracie were both enjoying how much success George Burns has had in the 70s. I mean, it was pretty amazing that a guy who had changed his act entirely to focus around Gracie for so many years, and then kind of tried a few things in the after she had retired, and then after she passed, to all of a sudden in the 70s blossom again and have this second career of the Oh God movies and all the things that he did. It's just delightful. I'm so happy for him that he did that, and he kind of cruised on that until his passing. I mean, he was still in the 80s. People were still excited whenever you saw him. Into the and at some point it became, wow, this guy is so old and still so funny, and how does he pull this off? And you know, the big thing of course was going to be on his 100th birthday, he was going to do a big thing, and I think he made it until his 96th or something, was still kind of performing and everything, and then kind of went out of the spotlight and assumed was having issues after that. And then he passed before he was 100, right? When he was like 99 or something.
No, he passed after he was 100.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he made it.
Very shortly kind of after, yeah.
Yeah, and not doing well because, of course,
Yeah.
he didn't do any of the performances he was talking about things at 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
it's kind of too bad they didn't record it like a just in case, like have a 100th celebration that they recorded when he was 97 or 96 or something, and then just
well, it's like they went ahead with the Betty White 100th birthday celebrations, and she died a couple of weeks before, but they went ahead and published the magazines and things like that. So.
Yes, yeah, like that's what I was gonna say. He was the I mean, my generation will not know who he is, but like he was like the Betty White of that generation. He was just stuck around so long that people were like, this is really cool that we have this performer still, and he's still funny, he's still able to do jokes, and I think like he was pretty active up until probably 98. But yeah, I just love his longevity there. Yes. I actually learned something I didn't know. My mom did not introduce me to George Burns, so I kind of had to find him through like Jack Benny and everything. But I was talking in the car, and my mom told me when she was in college, she wrote an essay about George Burns, and I was like, wow, where did this come from? I've been talking about George Burns for the past 15 years, and you never thought to mention that to me.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
That's great. Well, if you don't mind, it's really interesting. So Variety covered this special. As I said, that they made a note that they reviewed it in black and white. And it says comedy ran a distinct second to song and dance specialties on this in and out outing, meaning it's just a one-time special. I love Variety language, in and out outing. Surrounding himself with several first-rate performers, star/host George Burns supplied continuity by indulging in his familiar Can I Sing Now running routine, adding Jack Benny and his Can I Fiddle Now gag for good measure. Only at the tail end of the special did the Burns-Benny exchange warm up. But the lean comedy material didn't damage the show too severely, largely because of Burns's casual, low-pressure charm, Benny's durable expressiveness, and some outstanding efforts from the reserves. In addition to clowning around with the guest stars Betty Grable, Bobby Darin, and Polly Bergen performed their own specialties. Miss Grable scored with a sexy rendition of the now dated number, I Refuse to Rock and Roll, as she slowly stripped to essentials, revealing a still ship shape and game gams. Darin rocked the house with a slam-bang, shuffling, slithery version of Bill Bailey, but was something less than rewarding as he attempted a slow-tempoed, funny Valentine and had noticeable difficulty in the upper register. Miss Bergen clicked with a commanding delivery of the overworked Cole Porter ditty, Just One of Those Things. Outstanding facet of the show was the dancing. The talented Hermes Pan dancers, 12 of them, pranced out a few top-notch numbers, joining Burns on an opener that flowed with a stare-like ease and fluidity, helping Miss Grable through her bit and returning for a rural dance bash that was an amusing smash. Credit Pan with some sizzling inventive choreography. Yes, Burns did get to sing, racing through a medley of Doing the Grizzly Bear, Lily of the Valley, and Red Rose Rag. Actually, Burns, in his own way and style, is an accomplished vocalist, making his routine that much more gratifying and entertaining. So you see how prescient you are. Greg Garrison's direction kept it all rolling along smoothly. Mac Benoff produced and joined William Burns, George's brother, in penning a script that was his own show's worst enemy.
Well, I just want to point out that this is reversed to what we usually get. Usually we get the critics kind of panning the show and John going, it was the funniest show ever. I love this show. And now John's panning it somewhat and the critics are like, hey, this was really good.
Wow. I was really I really so totally agree with you, John, and everybody, that Betty Grable's routine just didn't do it for me. And I went and looked up her career. She hadn't been in films since 53. She basically, as Hollywood was falling apart, she went and did Vegas and traveling shows. And so her I don't know what was wrong with the miking of that scene during her song, but I could barely hear her thin voice. And I was going, oh, well, maybe she was just a movie actress. But then to know that she'd been on, so I just didn't get it. Why? And bless her heart, she died only in her fifth. She was only 44 at that time making the show.
Wow.
So and died in her I think 50s. So and as I said, I still couldn't figure out what Polly Bergen was known for other than to tell the truth. So
oh well, and you don't know. I mean, it could have been that George Burns had a long-time relationship, a professional relationship, with her, and sort of thing, and just invited her on, because sometimes that happens. You get people inviting folks that you haven't seen in years.
You're right. Well, and it also the stuff I was reading in Variety around that time, George Burns was doing a sold-out Vegas run with Bobby Darin as his singer.
There you go.
That summer. So
makes total
all
sense.
these connections. So
well, and I think as we kind of close this thing up, for us, because the way I've presented these, I found this special, and we'd already gone through all of our old specials, so for us, you're jumping ahead a number of weeks when you get this, but you're going to be getting it early, of course. But we're really in about 1968 is where we're at. So to compare this to Jack's special from 1968, this is like a early one where they're getting this kind of format down as to what a special looks like, and they build future specials, including most of Jack's, kind of on this sort of template that of the dancers, of some, like Kathy was saying, some people to appeal to the young audience, and they're trying to appeal to audiences all over the place. And I think it's interesting how they sort of created this thing, and Bob Hope and Jack Benny and George Burns and so many performers that were getting a little older would grow to this kind of format, and for years the audience would be like, oh, neat, a special with somebody I haven't seen in a while. It's their special for this year, or their second special of the year. Some of them did too, but it's just a delightful thing in some ways that unfortunately has almost gone completely away. I mean, Netflix, I know, tried this a few years ago. I can't remember with who the performer was, but it was very much felt like one of these old style specials, and with somebody who is, again, getting a little older, but an entertainer. I think it was a comedian that they did it with. But I just thought that was kind of interesting that somebody tried. I don't know how successful it was. Obviously, couldn't have been too successful because they haven't done other ones. So
I haven't done other ones.
I do think that the later specials, I feel like maybe have it polished and sort of the format down better.
Yes.
And the earlier specials are live, so there's that energy. And this is sort of like a piece of history. This is the transition in between the testing in some ways.
Yes. Agreed.
That's a great point. And just for anybody who actually goes and watches the show, it's very sweet at the end. Everybody, as they're leaving the show, say, please give my regards to Gracie. It's so, that's it must have been painful for George, melancholy and painful.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, to have her there, but she can't be his partner on stage anymore. So, but how nice that everybody remembered her, and and
after she was gone, I always, I'm always struck by the joke that he made about her over and over again. The whole, I'm going to paraphrase, but it's the whole, I had the greatest joke ever, and then she died, and that was just, it just sounds, the way he delivered it and everything, it was funny, and yet it was painful and poignant at the same time. So it was just always, because I just felt like once he lost his partner, he had to kind of find a new way, and he did. And I think Gracie would have been delighted that he found a way and became popular in his own right in so many ways. Yeah. Anyway, so go ahead.
In this episode, they mentioned Mary Livingston also.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, Jack and Mary were never the same as Burns and Allen. Burns and Allen were a team, and you can't have one without the other.
Right. I think Jack would have kind of liked maybe if they were a little more of a Burns and Allen, if she could have been able to pull it off more often and things with him. And like I say, I've always been delighted with Mary. It's just I don't know. I just felt like her heart was never in it completely as much as
Yeah.
Gracie's was.
Yeah.
And
But
so,
also,
Right.
she was always a part of a group, an ensemble,
Yes.
right? She was
Mhm.
never like the one.
correct,
Okay.
correct. Though I think if they wanted to, they probably could have pulled that off, especially early on if they did the right writing for them.
And you'll see it in 1933 and 34 when we get
Yeah.
to those old scripts. They really were trying the two, but just you say
Right.
it ended up working better as an ensemble. Although we'll move to the 1968 special and see that Jack did have another partner in Eddie Anderson.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
So
for
how
sure.
nice that a preview that how nice that he's going to
Well, I'm going to throw this out there for our Benny fans to ponder over, because it's something that I think of every once in a while. I don't think I've ever mentioned it on the show. I just wonder if early on, when Jack was doing his concerts, his performances, if he had asked Mary, "Oh, why don't we go and do this? Why don't we go on the road and do some of this?" And Mary's like, "No, I'll do the radio show, but I don't want to do the concerts and things with you," because he always did the concerts by himself. I mean, he'd have a
Yeah.
troupe that he put together, but it wouldn't have Mary in the troupe. And I
Right.
just can't imagine Jack do that and not ask Mary to do that. On the other hand, maybe he's like, this is my chance to feel my vaudeville stuff
Well-
again, and I did that by myself, and so I don't know.
And the backstory is that Mary was getting increasingly terrified of live events, and
Right.
she was fainting all the time, and just no, she wouldn't do anything live. You even see it in that 1940. I'm sorry for the deep dive. And
No,
if you
it's okay.
if that 1942 radio special where they create this 10th anniversary Jack Benny event, and they have it live on the radio, and she refused to say a word. So if she didn't have a script in front of her, she was
See, and I
not.
didn't know it was that early as 42. I was thinking maybe in the late 30s and early 40s, there was some other reason for her not going out and doing the performances with him, right? Because I was struck that it was more the late 40s and 50s that she was really hit by that, but I guess it was earlier. So interesting. All right, well, anyway, we'll let folks enjoy this special, and we'll see you next time for more Jack Benny. So we love doing these. So take care, everybody.
Following program is being brought to you in living color on NBC.
Richard Hudnut, America's first name in beauty. Richard Hudnut, makers of Lip Quick, the world's first roll-on lip color. Color Glow, the first waterproof hair color rinse. Fashion Quick, the first no-odor home permanent. And Fabulous Light and Bright Hair Lightener presents The George Burns Show.
Just before I came upon the stage tonight, I had an argument that almost caused a fight. My producer said the dancing was the public's choice. Well, I said that the public much preferred the singing voice, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's right. We'll soon find out, because tonight's the night. Please, just to show the public, would you kindly display a pirouette, an attitude, a pas de bourrée? If you have the elevation for an entrechat, make it ringy-dingy with the cha-cha-cha. Please add a variation to a theme by Bach. Elevate, releve, and really make it rock. Start a pas de deux, now a tour jeté. Pas de bourrée, pas de bourrée. Maestro, please, now take it away. tell you what a pleasure and an honor it is to have a big star like you on my show.
You can't tell me. Well, try. Tell me, George, you know, we've got a whole hour. The show has just started.
Jack, I really mean it.
Well, George, your show can't miss. Now, look at the talent you've got. You got Grable, Bergen, Bobby Darin, the Hermes Pan Dancers, Jeff Alexander's music, and of course, me.
Jack, you left somebody out.
Oh, I'm sorry, George. Your director, Greg Garrison.
Well, what show am I on? I know I'm working. I'm wearing makeup.
George, look, I was getting around to you. After all, this is an hour show, isn't it?
Well, see if you can squeeze me in before the closing credits.
Look, you've got the most important job. You don't realize you got the most important job on this whole show.
Oh?
You're the host.
The host. Well, good. Now, what does the host do?
Are you kidding? What does... Look, when all of these great performers get up and do their wonderful numbers, who's the fella who does this?
I do this, huh?
What a talent.
You're right, Jack. I don't think there's anybody in show business who has a better pair of palms than I have. I got a surprise for you. I'm not only going to be the host, but I'm going to sing with Grable, with Bergen, with Darin, with the Hermes Pan Dancers, with Jeff Alexander's orchestra. And when the show is over, I'm singing with our director, Greg Garrison.
George, you've got me wrong. See, I love your singing. I think you've got a style that's your own. You got a great voice.
You do?
Sure. Look, I've never told you this.
Oh?
But after a golf game, when you take a shower at Hillcrest Country Club, I always take the shower next to yours.
Just to hear me sing?
I don't even turn on the water.
Really, Jack?
George, many a day I've come home to Mary, dirty but happy.
You sure it's not to save money on towels?
You're corny. But look, George, I really love your singing.
Well, Jack, I've never told you this before. This just goes for me. I don't care about anybody else. To me, you're one of the world's greatest violinists.
You think so? Huh?
Oh, yes. You're just as good as what's his name?
Jascha Heifetz?
Jascha Heifetz.
No.
Well, Jack, you're just as good as
Isaac Stern?
Isaac Stern.
Oh, George, I mean...
And Jack, you're just as good as
Rubinstein?
him too.
He's a pianist.
What do I know about violinists? Jack, that was just a slip of the tongue. I really think you're the greatest.
Well, if you really feel that way, I just happen to have my violin here.
I don't... Oh, there it is. Yeah, well, I just happen to have my piano here.
Really?
Here it comes.
George, you mean you're going to sing while I play?
Let me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. You're gonna play while I sing?
Thanks.
Anyway, I thought you'd rather see two gorgeous girls who are keeping time to some beautiful music together.
The world of beauty takes on new color with two new sun and fun shades of Lip Quick, world's first roll-on lip color. Pinkanese, a pulsating pink with all the intrigue of the East, all the brilliance of Oriental peonies. What a lift it gives every complexion, every costume. Peach Poodle, a provocative peach with a cool French air. Whoever dreamed peach could give your beauty such a gay French accent? These two exciting colors come to your lips the only way a shade should today, with Lip Quick. Lip Quick, flowing lip color that rolls on automatically. See how easily Lip Quick outlines lips, how perfectly it shapes them. Just moisten lips, press together, and they're brilliantly beautiful. It's puppy love all over again with Pinkanese and Peach Poodle, two of 15 exciting young fashion shades found only in Lip Quick by Richard Hudnut.
As a young boy, Bobby Darin, I've worked with him and I've watched him become a tremendous success in the last year, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. In fact, I think he might turn out to be the second greatest singer in show business. Here he is, Bobby Darin.
Say, Bill Bailey, don't look now, but there's somebody calling you. Who? Why, your lady friend, that's who. And if I were you, I'd get my little old self home. Won't you come home, Bill Bailey? Won't you come home? She cries the whole day long. I do the cooking, honey. I'll pay the rent. You know I done you wrong. Remember that rainy evening? Drove you out. Nothing but a fine-tooth comb home. Yes, I know I'm to blame, honey. Ain't it a shame? Bailey, won't you please come home? Oh, let's walk on home, Bill. Won't you come home, Bill Bailey? Won't you come home? She cries the whole day long. Yes, yes, yes. I do the cooking, honey. I pay the rent. You know I done you wrong. Remember that rainy evening? I drove you out. Nothing but a fine-tooth comb and you was bald, honey. Ain't it a shame? No, I'm to blame, yes. Bailey, won't you please come? Bailey, won't you please come? Bailey, won't you please come? Oh, Bailey, won't you please come? Bailey, won't you please come? Keep on, Bailey, won't you please come? Go, Bailey, won't you please come? Let's walk, Bailey, won't you please come? 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 Oh, Bailey, won't you please come? 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 One more time, Bailey, won't you please come?
Bobby, you're a delight.
Thank you very much, Mr. Burns.
A lot has happened to you in the last year.
Yes, sir.
How does it feel to be 24 years old and to be one of the top recording stars? You know, the same thing could have happened to me, but when I was 24, Edison was 24, and he hadn't invented the phonograph yet.
Actually, I was really lucky, Mr. Burns. Sure was, because after all, I owe most of my success to just one man.
Bobby, you don't have to say that.
Yes, I do, sir. Because after all, where would I be without the guy that wrote Mac the Knife?
Yeah, well, that's who I was thinking of, too. Although, Bobby, I did have a little to do with your success. I didn't write Mac the Knife, but I wrote Elvis Presley's draft board and got Elvis in the Army. That didn't hurt you either.
Oh, no, it sure didn't. Sure didn't hurt at all, no. Say, Mr. Burns.
Yeah?
Would you do me a favor, sir? Would you write another letter for Fabian?
Look, Bobby, how about singing a little song together?
Jeepers, Mr. Burns, I'd love to. I really would. But, you know, the last time we did the show, both of us sang a song together, and there might be a sameness, you know? It just might. Why don't, say, I have an idea. Why don't you sing a song with Betty Grable?
Betty Grable, huh?
Sure.
Yeah, that might be an idea. Mm-hmm.
Sure. I mean, after all, you've helped me enough. Why don't you do it to somebody else? I mean, why don't you do it for somebody else, is what I meant.
No. Betty Grable, yeah, she's a beautiful girl, and we could do a boy and girl number.
Certainly.
And I could give her every third line. I know that this is going to break your heart, but I've decided not to sing with you.
Well, I guess you just have to take the good with the bad.
Isn't he a wonderful boy? He took it so bravely. Singing with Betty Grable, yeah. Well, she's got a very exciting number. I'll let her do that first, and then I'll ask her. She's beautiful. She's charming. She's got a lot of talent. I might even give her every second line. Ladies and gentlemen, Betty Grable.
Thank you, thank you. I'm so delighted to see you all here this afternoon at this lovely press reception. And I do hope that you are going to like my book, my autobiography, the story of my life. Now, I'm not going to tell you all about it, but I would like to tease you with a few anecdotes and goodies from chapter 251. I haven't decided on a title yet, but I do have several to choose from. My fickle, fickle ways, or inside of my outside, or am I for real? And finally, I was too young to know. You know it. You're looking at a real sophisticate. The lust for life has been my goal. I've done a lot of things I shan't relate, but I refuse to rock and roll. I've been the inspiration for a song with spicy lyrics by dear Cole. And I've been banned in Boston right along, but I refuse to rock and roll. It's not that it takes emotions that I lack. I've got what you might call respect for my sacroiliac. I dance with sailors at the USO, from which I won a Navy scroll. And I've been tattooed where it doesn't show, but I refuse to rock and roll. And now it says here, on page 5681, volume 3, that's... I've been to dinner with that ex-king man. He offered me a pink mink stole. The gifts he promised me would fill a van, but I refused to. Virtues, I suppose, but none a spinster would extol. The fact is, I am not the purest rose, but I refuse to rock and roll.
That number was thrilling. And that costume you're wearing is so exciting. Boy, I wish I had legs like yours. Even one.
Oh, George, I really enjoy working with you. You're a charming man. You've got a lot of personality and a lot of warmth.
Well, I'm glad you feel that way because we're going to sing together.
And a lot of nerve.
What?
I mean, I've got a lot of nerve to even want to sing with somebody like you.
Oh, well, that's all right, Betty. This is really going to be a great number for us. You see, it used to be a great hit for me. This is a great song. It's called I'm Tying the Leaves So They Won't Fall Down.
I'm tying the leaves.
So they won't fall down.
That was one of your big hits.
Betty, it might open a whole new career for you.
But that's what I'm afraid of. George, George, don't you think it would be better if you just sang all by yourself?
I'll be glad to. How does it go?
That's not the name of a song.
Look, Betty, this is my show, and I think we ought to do a number together.
But Mr. Burns...
Mr. Burns, two people who are going to sing together should call each other by their first names.
All right, Mr. Burns. And you can call me Mrs. James.
Look, Betty, this has gone far enough. Now,
Betty, just a minute.
Yes, Jack.
Just a minute.
Yes, Jack.
You see, I heard you squabbling. In here. And Betty, I think you're wrong. I think you ought to do a song with George.
You do?
Yes.
Thanks, Jack.
What do you mean, thanks? I'm always on your side. And to make sure you come off, I'll be right here accompanying you on my violin.
You're going to play while I sing?
Only when you sing.
What about her?
Who cares about her? You're...
The leaves by yourself.
Well, Betty, I got you out of it, didn't I?
Oh, I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, Jack.
Now you can do your number without any interference. I'll just stand back here, and accompany you on the violin.
What'd you say, Mr. Benny?
Mr. Benny? I mean, what happened to Jack?
The same thing that happened to George.
Hold it. Wait a minute, Betty. All right. I won't play for you. But you still owe me a favor, and I want you to do one thing for me.
All righty.
Now, I was just turned down by MGM for a part because there was a kissing bit in it, you see? And they felt that, I don't know, I wasn't romantic enough for it. Now, you're a beautiful girl. I mean, you've played those kind of scenes and parts. Do you mind if I kiss you? And then you can tell me how it was, huh?
Oh, sure.
Right.
Ready?
Ready?
George! George!
What is it, Betty?
George! Hold this violin.
Hi, Jack Benny. I've been holding this fiddle. January will be 31 years. You think I'm jealous? Just look at some home movies. I took at my pool last week.
This young lady is showing you a fabulous new hair coloring discovery. The first waterproof hair color rinse. New Color Glow. It's waterproof and it's wonderful. Color Glow doesn't wash out even underwater. Watch. The girl on the left has used another leading hair coloring rinse. The girl on the right used Color Glow. They both dry their hair with clean towels. And look, the other color lifts right off, while Color Glow stays on and will stay on for weeks. That's proof that Color Glow is waterproof. So if your hair is dull, faded, gray-streaked, give it new brilliance with waterproof Color Glow. Choose from a merry-go-round of gay shades, blondest blondes to blackest blacks and everything in between. Use Color Glow. Then, rain or shine, you'll always have a dazzling glow of color in your hair. New waterproof Color Glow.
Polly, will you please listen to reason? We'll be a sensation together.
Jack, for the last time, no.
Please, Polly, look, I'll mute it.
No, Jack, this is my big number. I'd like to sing all alone.
I know that number. I'll play it with you.
Jack, the answer is still no, and will you please stop staring at me with those baby blue eyes?
Look, Polly, let me warn you about something. If you don't let me do this number with you, you know how you're going to wind up? You're going to wind up singing it with George Burns.
What a choice. That's like asking Bridget Bardot which one of the Three Stooges she'd like to do a love scene with.
Polly, can I talk to you?
Well, here comes Mo.
Polly, how...
came here to pick some flowers. It's Mary's birthday.
Well, Jack, if it's Mary's birthday, I'll come over tonight and sing happy birthday to her.
It was yesterday.
Polly, how about all these flowers I got you?
Oh, I never received so many.
And this dressing room, I had it built especially for you.
George, I've never worked with anyone so thoughtful.
And how about that dress I got you for your opening
Oh,
number?
George, it's
Isn't that
so
a beautiful
beautiful,
dress?
yes,
That pretty?
yes.
Well, now that you feel good, Polly, I've got a favor to ask you.
George.
I've got a number.
George, before you do, I'd like to pay you a great compliment. You know, you and Jack Benny have been in show business for a lot of years.
About 1,000 years, yeah.
Yes, but there's a lot of difference between you.
Oh?
Do you know why Jack Benny was here?
No.
He was trying to get into my act. Now, can you imagine anybody trying to get into somebody else's act?
Polly, this number,
George, it's your show, and you wouldn't try to do a thing like that.
Flowers cost me $80.
I mean, the first principle of show business is to give the other performer a chance. Jack should know that.
This dressing room cost $450.
And here you and Jack are friends. You'd think some of your showmanship would rub off on him.
That dress cost me $750.
How one performer can try to take advantage of another performer, I'll just never understand.
Polly, I was planning to let you keep the dress after the show.
You know, this is my big number, and I wouldn't share it with anyone. Not anyone. Now, George, what is it you want to ask me?
I came to get my flowers.
5 minutes, George.
And Polly, leave the dress after the show. It's Gracie's size.
But it was just one of those things. Just one of those crazy things. One of those bells that now and then ring. Just one of those things. It was one of those nights. Just one of those fabulous nights. A trip to the moon on gossamer wings. Just one of those things. If we thought then about the end of it, when we started painting the town, we'd have been aware that our love spell was too hot not to cool down. So bye-bye and amen. Here's hoping we meet now and then. It was great, great fun. Just one of those things. So bye-bye and amen. Here's hoping we meet now and then. It was great fun, but it was just one of those things. One of those things. One of those.
Wasn't she wonderful? You know, I hate to say this, but she was a big hit without me. Those kids. Her and Bobby Darin and Betty Grable, they think they can put one over. Well, the three of them are supposed to do the next number, Buttons and Bows. The girls don't know this, but they're doing it with me. I tied Bobby Darin to a chair. Excuse me, I've got to make a change.
Now a western ranch is just a branch of nowhere junction to me.
Give me the city where living is pretty.
And the gals wear finery. Take a look here.
East is east and west is west. And the wrong one we had chose.
So let's go where they keep on wearing those frills and flowers and buttons and bows. Ring things and buttons and bows.
Don't bury me on this prairie. Take me where the seamen grow. Let's go down to some big town where they love a gal by the cut of her clothes. And we'll stand out in buttons and bows.
I'm all for standing out myself. Now I'll love you in buckskin or skirts with you homespun. But I'll love you longer, stronger, where you folks don't wear no gun. My bones denounced the buckboard bounce, and the cactus hurts my toes.
Let's fair moose where gals keep using those silks and satins and
Have a
linen
hat.
that shows we're all yours in buttons and bows.
I love your headgear. Now, eastern trimming where women are women.
And high silk hose and peekaboo clothes.
Right.
French perfume that rocks the room.
Where are yours in buttons and bows?
Music, I'm ready for Buttons and Bows.
George, they just did it.
What? Well, what do I do now?
Lead into the commercial.
Well, all right. I'd like to show you this newspaper with rave notices for new home permanent hit. Gracie tried it and thinks it's just great. Now, girls, this has gone far enough. The party scene that's coming up, I'm using real champagne. It's costing me a fortune. The whole show is costing me a fortune. And you've got to make a decision. One of you girls have to sing with me. And it can't miss because at the finish of the number, I yodel. Now, which will it be?
I'd love to, George, but I've got laryngitis. She got it from me.
I'm cooked. All right. Will you dance with me?
What did you say, George?
She caught it from you, yeah. Do you girls happen to have a relative in Gunsmoke named Chester? All right, no singing, no dancing. How about taking a little walk with me?
A walk?
A walk?
Sure.
Go to the party and have a lot of fun. I'll see you later, huh?
Gee, George really went all out for this party. Champagne, Nova Scotia salmon, imported caviar. I'm glad I brought my Bowser bag with me. It's Mary's birthday.
My funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine, you make me smile with my heart. Your looks are laughable, unphotographable, yet you're my favorite work of art. Is your figure less than Greek? Is your mouth a little weak when you open it to speak? Are you smart, dear? Don't ever change a hair for me. Not if you really care for me. Stay, little Valentine, stay. could be Valentine's Day.
The rest of my music? Yes, Mr. Burns. Well, there's over 500 songs here. They ought to love one of them. They ought to. I spared no expense. They can't turn me down. Oh, Mr. Burns. Charlie, did you bring my big song? I'll be waiting for you, Bill, when you come back from San Juan Hill. Well, go get it. That's my closing number. In the meantime, here's a great idea for you men. Get yourself some of those great Sportsman products. Tell them about it, Bob.
For Father's Day, Sportsman toiletries, because they're the finest men's toiletries you can buy. And how he'll love you for them. For example, Sportsman shaving lotion, that famous aftershave that gives a man that top-of-the-morning feeling every day of the year. Then, Sportsman cologne for men. Ah, the fresh, clean scent that lends every dad a debonair air. It's the fragrance women love men to wear. And Sportsman gift sets. He'll really feel like a king with an airlight trio of Sportsman toiletries in this handsome travel kit. So go out tomorrow and buy him the Sportsman toiletries he'd like best. Right, George?
Right, Bob. And to my son and daughter who are watching, Father's Day is June 19th. Now you know what I want. Don't forget, Sportsman. Sit down, Charlie. Sit down, everybody. Sit down. Down, everybody. How about the party? Nice party? Having fun? How about the food? Food good? Champagne was imported. Sit down, everybody. Down. Down.
Now sit down, all of you. I think you kids ought to be ashamed of yourself. And you, Polly, and Betty, and Bobby here, and me. I'm the worst offender. Now, this is George's show. And George loves to sing.
It's true.
And we haven't given him a chance. No. George is my oldest friend. I've got hundreds of friends. But George is the oldest. I've heard George sing at parties, in the shower. I've heard George sing for 30 years.
32.
35 years. And it's time somebody else heard it. Don't thank me. You don't have to thank me. You think George is a Johnny-come-lately, don't you? Do you know that this man made an album for the Edison Company more than 30 years ago with other great singers?
That's right.
But this man is permanent.
Thanks, Jack.
You can go into any music shop. Their records are all gone. But George's is still there. Wait a minute, George. I'm not finished with that
But
yet.
you're finishing me.
George has had that voice down in him all these years.
A lot of years.
And it's improving with age. Right now, his voice is like a rare old wine. Like a fine old cheese. George Burns has got as much as any of the big singers of today. I don't care who you mention. Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Perry Como, Arthur Rubinstein.
He's a piano player.
What do I know about singers? George
Jack, I know what you're trying to do, and believe me, you're doing it.
Please, I want you to remember that George has been a star in show business for 30 years.
32.
37 years.
37 years.
And you may ask me why. Ask me why. Ask me how. But that's show business.
I think you've taught us all a lesson, sir. And I know I, for one, would love to hear Mr. Burns sing a song.
Thank you.
Really would.
That goes for me, too.
And I feel the same way, George.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, my opening number is a song
That's too late!
Too late! Look,
They've hurt you enough, George. And you're too hurt to give in.
I sing better when I'm hurt.
No, Lord, I'm not going to let you lower yourself.
I'll sing on my toes. Go on, Charlie.
What's the matter with you? Don't you love George?
Burns, stop!
We're trying to teach these kids a lesson.
Look, Jack.
George, if I were you, I'd walk out on them.
Walk out on me? Look, they finally want to hear me sing. Why should I walk out
They
on them?
don't deserve it. Now go, George, go.
Well,
take your music and go.
Jack.
You kids
Jack.
ought to be ashamed of yourself for what you've done to this man. Go, George, go.
Can I sing? Go.
And you traitor, you go.
Let's go into the property room. There's a piano there.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, my heart is breaking, but the show must go on. But first, I want you to hear a song without music. You've heard of a song without words. This is without music. And a one and a two. Charlie, there's the piano. Oh, hey, property man. Hey, Cross, stop painting. Do you mind sit right down, will you? Here, sit there. Here's a cigar. There you are. Now let me light it for you. Put your feet right up here. Get yourself comfortable. I'm gonna sing you a few songs. I love these songs, and I think you'll love them too. And by the way, I want you to know that's a very good cigar. Okay, Grizzly Bear, Charlie. Out in San Francisco, where the weather's fair, they got a dance out there that's called the Grizzly Bear. All your other loving dances don't compare. Kind of spoony and a little less than croony talk about the bears that Teddy Roosevelt shot. They don't compare with what? Well, San Francisco's got. Come on, honeydew, and I'll show to you the dance called the Grizzly. Hold it, hold it, hold it. That song is too great to finish. You know, when that song was popular, I was 18 years old. I did a ballroom dancing act, the Waltzing O'Connors. My name was O'Connor. And I used to change my name every week. I could never get a job with the same name twice. I loved show business. I used to walk around with makeup on my collar. I wanted the whole world to know I was an actor. One day things got so tough I had to wear a clean shirt. I couldn't afford makeup. Anyway, my name was O'Connor, and I was sitting in Farley Marcus's office. He was sort of a small-time booking agent, trying to get a job. And the theater manager walked in. He said, "Where could I find Joe Healy?" I says, "I'm Joe Healy." I had so many names, I thought I was. And he gave me a contract to play the Myrtle Theater in Brooklyn for $15 for 3 days. On the contract that said monologist. I figured, how could I be bad for $15? So I went out and I stole Jim Thornton's act, who was a monologist. And a great one. But the trouble was, Jim Thornton was 65 years old and I was 18, so his material didn't exactly fit me. Well, I walked out on the stage at the Myrtle Theater. My opening line was, "Love is like the mumps, the only hour when you get it, the harder it goes with you. When you first fall in love, you're full of blunders, like a cactus is full of prickles." And I looked off stage, and the manager was doing this. Well, I figured I'm out here, I might as well do my act. I looked out at the audience, and they were doing this. Well, there were more of them than there were of him, so I walked off stage. As I passed the manager, he wiped the makeup off my collar, stuck my pictures under my arm, and said, "Out." That's how they closed you in those days. They'd give you back your pictures. Until I met Gracie, I had my pictures stuck under my arm so often that for years I walked around like this. Anyway, I loved doing a single act. So I came back to that same theater 9 months later. My name was Willie Sachs. And I was rehearsing my opening song Monday morning. It was, if you'll notice on the program where he mentions all the acts, you take a look at number 2, you see the name of Sachs. It doesn't say company or anything like that. It simply says assisted by his little head. Ooh, anyway, I sang about 30 or 40 choruses that I stole from Gallagher and Sheehan. And I was in the middle of my rehearsal when the manager walked down the stage and he says, "Hey, Sax, aren't you the Joe Healy that was here 9 months ago who said love is like the mumps, the only hour when you get it, the harder it goes with you, you first fall in love, you're full of blondes like cactus full of prickles?" I said, "Yes, sir." Again, he wiped the makeup off my collar, stuck my pictures on my arm and said, "Out." I don't want to brag, but I'm the only actor in show business who was ever closed before he opened. Anyway, here's the chorus. Cuddle close to your baby. Snap your shoulders to the ceiling. Lordy, lordy, what a feeling. Hug up close to your lady. Close your eyes and do some napping. Something nice is going to happen. Hug up close to your baby. Swing her everywhere. Show you down the boat just how to go to Buffalo. Oh, doing the grizzly bear. Isn't that a cute song? I love these songs. I love verses. I'm a verse man. Sinatra needs choruses. Here's a cute verse. My kid brother, he's a lazy kid. One day's work is all the work he did. Wrote a song entirely wrong. Up in Yonkers, it is going strong. George M. Cohen and the other gang heard my brother when the song he sang. He said that it cannot miss. It's bound to be a hit. How could it miss? How could it miss? When the chorus goes like this. Oh, wait. When that was one of my hits. My name was Jimmy Glide. I did an act then called Goldie Fields and Glide. Goldie's right name was Jaime Goldberg. I found him in the laundry. He used to sing while he'd iron shirts. Sang a little bit like Anna Maria Alberghetti. But the trouble was he couldn't sing without ironing. So on the stage when he'd sing, his motions would go something like this. From time to time in every climb, blessings come from above, oh, and then he turned the iron when he got to his sleeve. Well, we were not a very attractive trio. Goldie would sing like he was ironing, and I'd sing like I'm still holding the pictures under my arm. Anyway, we were booked for 3 days, you guessed it, the Myrtle Theater in Brooklyn. Monday morning, we were rehearsing our act. I was in the middle of, Oh, Heart of My Heart, I Love You, when the manager walked down the stage, and he said, "Hey, Glide, aren't you the Willie Sax?" He said, "If you notice on the program that mentions all the acts, you take a look at number 2, see the name of Sax. Who used to be Joe Healy, who said love is like the mumps, the only hour when you get it, the harder it goes when you first fall in love, you're full of blunders like cactus full of prickles." I never answered him. I just wiped the makeup off my collar, stuck my pictures under my arm and left. Goldie went back to the laundry. Fields went into the insurance business, and I turned out to be Williams of Brown and Williams, singers, dancers, and roller skaters. Anyway, here's the chorus. Lily, lily of the valley. Lily, lily, let's be pally. You're the sweetest little flower of the lot. Oh, be my lily, and I'll be all forget-me-not. Here's a song. Here's a song I sang with the Pee Wee Quartet. Red Rose Rag. Down in the garden where the red roses grow. Oh my, I want to go. Pluck me like a flower, cuddle me an hour. Lovey, let me learn that red rose rag. Red leaves are falling in the rosy romance. Bees hum, come now's your chance. Don't go hunting possums, mingle with the blossoms in the flowery bowery dance. Oh honeymoon, shine on in June. Hold it. Anyway, after 40 or 50 more names, 7 years later, I met Gracie. And we were a hit right away. And my ambition was to play the Myrtle Theater in Brooklyn and prove to that manager I could finish one performance without changing my name. And we booked it. We got there, and there it was up in lights. George Burns and Gracie Allen. The trouble was, it wasn't the Myrtle Theater anymore. The manager heard I was coming, and he changed it to the Jefferson. Well, here's the chorus. Pick a pinky petal for your papa's pride. Beg your burning blush, hold it, beg for Charlie. Bobby, what are you doing here?
Mr. Benny just started to play his violin.
Oh?
I'm only kidding. I wanted to say thank you very much for having me on the show again.
And don't forget, we're playing Vegas next month together. Watch your throat.
I shall.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night, Bobby. Pick a pinky petal for your papa's pride.
George.
Yes, Polly.
George, I just wanted to tell you how much fun the show was.
Thank you, Polly. And Gracie and I always watch you on To Tell the Truth, and you're the best.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Pick a pink petal for your papa's pride.
Thank you, George, for a wonderful evening. I really enjoyed myself.
Thank you, Betty, and give my best to Harry.
My love to Gracie.
Thank you. Good night.
Pick a pinky petal for your papa's pride. Beg your pardon. Good night.
Good night.
Oh, pick a pinky petal for your papa's pride. Beg a burning blossom for your blushing bride. Pull me with a wonderful wiggle wide.
Golly. He left. Come on, let's get on music.
Meet Jack Taylor, lady killer. With the car, the clothes, but no beautiful girl. It seems she had suddenly acquired a very mysterious headache. Later that night, he remembered what he'd heard on the radio.
Don't try to brush bad breath away. Reach for Listerine.
Maybe that could be it. Maybe I could have bad breath.
And if you do remember, Listerine stops bad breath 4 times better than toothpaste. Germs in mouth and throat cause most bad breath. Toothpaste can't kill germs the way Listerine does, on contact by millions. Toothpaste covers only this small area, but you cover 2, 3, 4 times more mouth and throat surfaces the Listerine way, the recommended way of stopping bad breath. Every time you brush your teeth, reach for Listerine, your #1 protection against bad breath. Listerine stops bad breath 4 times better than toothpaste.
Song I Refuse to Rock and Roll, courtesy of MGM. Currently releasing The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn.
These slim, elegant, golden cases hold a great new, exciting beauty discovery. Lip Quick by Richard Hudnut. See how Lip Quick's creamy color flows on, outlines lips cleanly, shapes them perfectly, takes the place of lipstick, lip liner, and lip brush. Just moisten your lips, press together. Lips are beautiful with creamy, lasting color. Lipstick can break off, melt, lose its point. But Lip Quick's rounded tip applicator always shapes lips perfectly. Don't say lipstick, say Lip Quick by Richard Hudnut.
The George Burns Show has been brought to you by Richard Hudnut, America's first name in beauty. Makers of Lip Quick, the world's first roll-on lip color. Color Glow, the first waterproof hair color rinse. Fashion Quick, the first no-odor home permanent. And Fabulous Light and Bright Hair Lightener. Now, from Richard Hudnut, good night.